Well, one of the most common themes I hear from students is I'm struggling with my faith because, and it is almost always followed by some connection to emotions or feelings. Like, I'm struggling with my faith because I'm just not feeling like God is present in my life. And that's nothing new, except that I see it coming all the time. And what I say to them is this: you should not have an event-driven faith. But unfortunately, I think that's what we set up sometimes in the Church of the Nazarene. In most, you go to camp, it's an event. You're close to the Lord, and I know this because this is my experience, and so I find it to be a real issue with students. They imagined a certain feeling and in some kind of euphoria that they would eventually get to and then be considered where they need to be. And so I try to teach the consistency of Christian practice. Well, what does it mean to practice the faith? How are you a Christian to begin with? I mean, what is it that makes you that? Some mountaintop experience, a prayer that you prayed, or the steps that you follow? And while I think it's a both and, I believe that that college students need to hear, let's walk in a certain path that we've been called to follow. And what do Christians do? They gather, they fellowship, they worship, they give alms, they have solidarity with the poor, they fast. As I began to try to teach them, what does it mean to be Christian? And not only teach them, but live it out myself. I mean, this is not necessarily about feeling, but faithful practice. Sometimes we as pastors, I think, need to focus on what they need as opposed to what they want. And sometimes they're not able to distinguish that. And for me, I sense that a lot of what our students need is rest. Of course, biblically, that's Sabbath and dehabituation. I mean, they are certainly stressed more than I've ever seen. And how do they establish patterns, rules of life that lead them into consistent times of rest and just not producing and not living in the market? And I think, boy, it's a challenge. Whenever you talk to a student and you say, how you doing? 90% of the time they say, I'm tired. I think in all of that, we need to recapture what it means to rest in Christ and experience his redemption and renewal.